Hey guys, Dustin Wynn.
Hey, this is Scott Snyder.
This is Paul Dini.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
And you're listening to Bat Force Radio.
You're listening to Bat Force Radio.
This is Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman, and you're listening to Bat Force Radio, so stay tuned.
I still get choked up every time I listen to that intro. But hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Everything Batman podcast. I'm your host, Dunk. Today's special guest is part of the management team over at FanExpo. Also organizes most FanExpo events. He's a collector and also a good friend of mine. Please welcome Rich to the show. How's it going, bro?
How you doing, man?
You know, just another day. Nice little Friday night, just hanging out with a bro.
Nice. All the good guests were out this Friday, so they got me.
Yeah,
so.
You know, what ends up happening is, you know, we're losers, and we just stay home on Fridays and play with our PlayStations.
You know what? When we organized this, I was like, oh man, Friday night, like, you know, I make that work. And it's been pouring rain today, so I'm just like, this is great.
Oh,
I
you
didn't want to go anywhere.
We got so teased yesterday with like 64-degree weather over here in Albany, New York. And then today has just been windy and cold. And I'm like, oh, all right, that's right. This is why I don't want to be here anymore. And so it's a perfect time to be inside. I'm not.
February's that false spring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it'll hit warm, and then March it's going to be like sub-zero temperatures.
Yeah, you never know what February is actually the coldest for the most part. Like it gets you like we had like negative something in the beginning of February.
Right.
And then we got teased with 64. And then today,
this is how everybody gets sick. This is why I don't go outside if I don't have to at this point.
This is why you keep your this is why you keep your winter shit on. You don't like, oh, it's nice out, let me roll the windows down. No. Fucking wear your jacket, your hoodie, beanie on. Don't take any of that stuff off. Sweat. Go home and survive this because you don't want to get sick.
Exactly.
But thank you for coming on. Yeah, it's Friday. What else are you gonna do? Yeah, why not just?
I just got PlayStation 5, so I'm so locked into God of War right now.
You're just taking a break.
I'm just looking. I was like, I'm watching them in the snow, and I'm like, better you than me in that game.
I'm playing one of the Assassin's Creeds. I gotta get back to playing that. I just catch myself watching Netflix all the time, and that has to change.
See, no, I don't watch a lot of TV in the sense that it's like if I go on Netflix, man, I end up Netflixing. Like I'll look through 150 movies and then just be like,
and then go to bed.
I'll go on YouTube and then go to bed.
That works. That freaking works. So for those that don't know, Rich is a really busy man, and in the next month or so, we have one of the bigger cons we have in the U.S. MegaCon coming up, and thanks to Rich, Rich is has a lot of connections, and he makes MegaCon mega for a reason, and brought him over to the show because as a friend, I'm curious. I can ask him a lot of questions personally, but it's nice to know what happens behind the scenes, how people get to a certain position, and it's not just, oh, I got this position now, I know people. There's a lot more behind that. Someone like Rich actually, he built his network, and now he's a very valuable human being, especially for FanExpo.
I have an 8th grade guidance counselor. I'd love you to tell that to.
Give me his number. Got it. Or hers. Yeah. So all that being said, I personally know how involved you are in the community and things you worked on, and some of the connections you have. But let's just start from the beginning and like what brought you into the culture. Like, what's your earliest memory of like, there's something about, this hero or this event or this comic that enticed you to keep it on?
So as long as I can remember, I've liked Batman, Superman. Superman's my guy. And I always liked him. I don't have a memory in my head that didn't remember, oh, I didn't like this guy. But really for me, it was my earliest memory is probably the beginning of the VHS of the Batman movie with the Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, like promoting the Warner Brothers catalog and to get your Batman t-shirt. And then it went to like this Diet Coke ad, and the Diet Coke can had a cape. And I remember being like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then going into this movie with the music. And then from there on, like, and my mother and my father, God rest his soul, would tell you every week it would be the Christopher Reeve Superman, the Michael Keaton Batman. Then it was the Kevin Conroy cartoons really locked me in, specifically to Batman, for like most of my childhood, because that was really like the focus when I was a kid growing up in like that late 80s, early 90s, you know. Once that Batman cartoon came out and the Michael Keaton movies were out, it was him all day, every day. Superman I loved and I wanted there to be more of, but there was like the cheesy Lois and Clark show. And right as I was getting into the books, they're like, we're going to kill him. And I was like, oh. And at like 5 or 6, you don't know that he's coming back eventually. You're just like, oh, all right, that was short-lived.
Yeah, I was big on Superman too, like in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like,
well, when you're a kid, that's Superman's the power fantasy.
He's,
right?
He's unstoppable. You want to be unstoppable, you know? It's like, why not Superman? And then, well, for me, life happens and Batman becomes my guy.
I feel like you take a split, like when you're younger, and there's I'm gonna go. I love Superman. That's the way I want to go. That's fun. I love the powers still and all that stuff, and that's the route I took. And then the other route is like real problems, and you know, you're just like, I relate to Batman. I get it. Like,
yeah. And then you end up being a grown up, and you understand the Joker the most.
Yeah, right. Then you still look at the Joker, and you're like, I kind of get it, bro. Like,
yeah. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, I was trying to figure it out, and I just snapped. All right, cool. All right, that's how you become that guy.
Right.
That's funny because like similar stories. Obviously, we're probably similar age, and we are the similar age. And it's like this. I started out the same way. It was like Soups, Bats, animated series, and then like everything in between the commercials, the toys and at McDonald's. The cups of McDonald's.
The Happy Meal toys always got me.
Yeah. And then it was like, you know, growing up, it was like everything was awesome. It was like, and it was consistent too. It was like every movie would come out like every 3 years. And
well, it was like not even that too. It was like, because then Marvel started really getting in with like the cartoons, because it's like if Saturday morning it would be
Saturday morning
X-Men cartoons, Spider-Man, and then Batman the animated series would like cap it all off, and you were like, I'm spent. Wake me up Sunday.
Yeah, and that's like now it's only 11:30 in the morning, right? And then it's like like wow, I just crushed like 3.5 hours of cartoons. Wow, and like as a kid, it's
such
like,
a full day.
Yeah, I don't even know what they show now. I think
they don't.
I try to watch early morning television, and it's like so it was like animal stuff or something like that on the basic channels.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man, no cartoons. Got to bring that stuff back, man.
I gotta tell you, one of my favorites I remember was like at this point, it's what, like 96 at this point. It's when the Superman cartoon came out, the Bruce Timm one, and then I went to the mall with my family that day after watching Superman, and it was like Batman and all that stuff. And we saw the Warner Brothers Studio store. And did you ever get to go to the Warner Brothers Studio store?
No.
Oh my God, dude. It was like just Batman and Superman just everywhere. And it was like, the place was like a wonderland. I was like preferred it over Toys R Us and all. I was such a DC guy, still am. I'm still such a DC guy about it all. You put a Batman or Superman thing in front of me, and I'm there. I'm here for it.
I understand that 100%. My handle is EverythingBatman, but it's like I still think it's like I'm a huge Batman fan, but I still look at Soups, and I was like, yo, come on, man, do something dope, and it's still.
He's so hindered. It really is like a tough character. And from talking to every writer that I know, or every artist, They love doing Batman, and Batman could be all these relatable mental like stresses that you deal with on a daily basis. And the Joker's kind of like the adult power fantasy of just like, let me take all that stress and just really just like unleash it on everyone. Whereas Superman is like, how do you write that guy that's that powerful and wants to fit in, so he holds back and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like that's the tough part, because his villains are all Justice League level. You need everybody to fight him villains and stuff like that. But there's only so far you could take that. Batman could just be whomping on Two-Face every couple of months, and it'll just be a different reason, and it just makes sense.
Yeah, Batman could fight like regular guys, and it's like, you escaped Arkham again. Oh, all right, cool. No, this guy has another different plan. Let's go get him.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you make Superman the villain, right? Like, he's the end boss for Batman.
Yeah,
like that's
over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that, and it is tough writing Superman. Come to think about it, but it's like it's still enjoyable, man. I think
love it.
Anytime a hint of our childhood comes out with something, I'm just like, here I am. I'm 5 again.
Yep.
Is he gonna freeze the lake? Oh my God, he froze the lake. Awesome. And he's picking it up. Sweet. Like, all those things. So like, that's like your earliest memory of things, like when pretty much Christopher Reeves.
And I did it wrong too, because the first Superman movie I saw was Superman 4. And I thought that was like the greatest movie in the world, because I'm like 4 years old and I'm like, oh my God, he's picking up a mountain. And oh my God, he's fighting this random dude called Nuclear Man I've never heard of and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's doing this, that. And then you watch it when you're a little bit older, you're like, it's not good. No, it's not a good movie.
But that's the thing. It's watching things that came out in the 80s, right? It's like you watch it now and it's like, oh, what the hell? But like, that was the shit back then. Like that was like, the best thing
to the kids. To kids,
yeah,
like
to kids.
To the adults, the movie still sucked in the 80s.
Well, my dad was big on it. He was just like, I don't know if it was for me, but like he'll watch Superman every single time it was on TV. And and my dad's a bigger Superman guy than a Batman guy. Him and I have to have a couple of conversations.
Me and your dad would get along.
Yeah, yeah. So like my dad would like, oh, Superman's on, and it's like, whatever Superman movie was, he'll watch it, and so would I, because I'm a kid. And but if a Batman movie would go on, it's like, it's too dark. Man, oh, come on, Dad.
You look at the plot of Batman Returns, man, and that is the fact my family even let me see this movie in the theater with them. It's like the plot is Penguin wants to just drown children. You know what I mean? Like, that's a dark plot. How do you, like, they let Tim Burton do that, and they're just like, ugh.
It was like, it was questionable, but yet here we are as kids. We were watching it in '92. Like, all right, cool, whatever.
It was fine.
So overall, all right. So that's earlier childhood thing. So what was like the next phase? When did you start getting into comic books? Did you get into comic books when you were a kid, or did you stick to like cartoons and stuff?
So like comics. So comic stores were always something that I've been going to, even when I was younger. Family would take me to comic stores, and there was one comic store that I love on Long Island called Grasshopper Comics. It's in East Williston, still there, same owner and everything. When it opened, when I was like 6, 5, they had this whole big opening event, and they had the Joker's goons, a bunch of guys in just purple jackets were coming in. They were going to take over the comic store as it's opening. And here comes Batman. And it's a guy dressed in the Batman Returns suit, but he's got white Nikes on, and they have these blue mats down. And I just remember Batman coming in from the back emergency exit door. You know what I mean? And I'm like mystified as a kid. And I was like, oh my God, this is what happens at comic book stores. And everybody's like, and I was like, oh, all right. So ever since then, I was hooked on comics. Now, as far as like following plots or anything like that, no. But
no, you just read one book and was like, "Oh my God, this is awesome!" And then
this is the best thing I've ever read in my life.
Story.
Yeah, I'd pick up a Spider-Man, a Batman, and a Superman book, and they'd be fighting absolutely nobody. It would be nobody that you knew. It wasn't Lex Luthor. It wasn't the Joker. It wasn't Venom. And I'd be reading these books. I'm like, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. Read comic books. It's like, I remember like I had like, I actually got my one DKR. I had a DKR 1 first print. I got that one graded. I still had it from a kid. It came back a 6.0. Everyone was like, "Oh my god, it's so low." I don't give a fuck. That's like my childhood one. I'll never sell that. If I ever get another one, cool. I'll sell that. But like my 6.0, that's sentimental. My dad got me that when I was a kid, and somehow it's still a 6.0. It's like you get things back as a kid, and it's like you're lucky if it's like a 1.8.
Dude, honestly, I think the first comic book I got that I remember like going out and like actively seeking when I was a kid was Superman 83. It was that chromium thing. It was like the end of the Return of Superman arc.
Oh,
right.
Shit.
So it's Superman fighting cyborg Superman, and like that's when he gets suit back and everything like that. And I bought that book, thought it was the most gorgeous art and Dan Jurgens to this day is still like high on my top 3 Mount Rushmore. This is one of the most important people in comics because of that book. Which is a nothing book by today's standards, really. Yeah, but that book was wrecked. It was ripped. That book was completely loved, So that's like if I got that thing graded, CGC or CBC guys will look at me like, "What the hell's wrong with you?"
Yeah, what are you doing this for? It's for me. Yeah, I was thinking of other books. I had like Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Like I just had like random shit, and it didn't mean nothing meant anything. Except my Batman book. Obviously, that's the one that's in better condition. The staples and everything got pulled out of my Sonic. So all right. So the comic book phase moved forward. Did you stick to like comic books and stuff like going into school, like junior high and high school? There's like for me, I got lost. I lost.
You weave in and out, right?
Yeah.
You weave in and out when you're
the movies kept me in.
Yeah.
The movies kept me in, but the comics were pushed away. I also like played basketball, so I just didn't have time for life.
Yeah, see, I started getting into I liked gaming, so I would have like my Sega Genesis and my N64 and all that stuff. You hang out with your friends. Days. Yeah, you're just trying all different things, but it's like if there was a comic thing based on in that medium, like I'm jumping on a movie, game, TV show, whatever. But, also when you're a kid, it's like, if you don't have a comic store, it's like near you.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to one? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So you took what you got. But, I think where I really started diving back into books was, the Civil War story arc.
Okay. That was a lot.
And honestly, I got hooked and I was driving at that point. So I'm like, I'm going to go get a book every week. I'm going to get all the time. I still have like the Black Panther tie-ins and the Runaways and all that stuff. And I'm like, what the hell is how did we get here?
Why do I have all these long boxes?
Yeah, right. You're just like, oh, and then the trade comes out. It's like, I should have waited.
Yeah, that's very funny because that constantly happens to me where I'm like, of course, I'm a huge fan of Sean Gordon Murphy. And
fantastic.
The White Knight series, I need to get every issue. But then it's like, no, I don't. It's like, let me just wait for the trade because I'm going to get it anyway.
Right.
I'm going to get the trade anyway. And then now, then I see Sean and I'm like, hey, can you sign all these books? And it's like, then I've seen
that in person.
Yeah. You see me cut the line and everything.
Everything.
So it's
and we love Jeff and Sean. They're great.
Yeah. Shout out to Jeff, man. Great dude. Again, appreciate you guys for letting me work with you. Appreciate Rich for hooking it up.
Right. Yeah, that was New York?
Yeah, it was New York Comic Con. You messaged me when there was Cosplay World. Shout out to Jason Keith, who runs Cosplay World. I was in Cosplay World the week before, and you asked me, and I was like, F yeah. Yeah. And I was like, I added an extra day off. That went I was off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And then I was like, Jeff was like, hey, can you be there Wednesday? Yeah. Come on.
Yeah.
So I was there Wednesday. I don't Murphy. I got you, bro. Anytime you need me.
We
But,
love Shaw. I remember Jeff calling me. He's like, I need somebody who's going to help me with that booth at New York. And I'm like, I got someone. I didn't even talk to you or ask you. I'm just like, I know he'll do it.
no questions asked. So yeah, and because I'm such a fan of him, I'm going to do it. If like I would have got fired, I'm like, whatever, guys, I'll Uber Eats or whatever. But I catch myself getting every issue of. I'm staring at issue 6 over here. I catch myself
series.
buying. It's phenomenal, and now they're extending it. Now we have Katana and Clay McCormick working on Generation Joker after this. Like, it's an amazing series. So it's like now it's at 4 parts, about to go on 5, and I catch myself buying every issue because I want to be up to date. I'm that much of a fan where I want to be up to date, but then it's like when the trade comes out, and then I'll fly to MegaCon with one of the trades, and let me just 3-hour flight. I can knock out the whole trade. I'm like, you know what? I should have just waited for the trade. And
nah, man, I love having those issues though. Still, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but you also appreciate the cover art,
100%.
because you could, in a trade, you get your final pages that have all that. That's great, but there's just, you're right. There's something about just having the issue. If you really, not to like knock anyone who gets this trade, if you're such a fan of a certain series or such, you feel better about having the actual individual issues.
100%, and it's the same thing as book lovers, right? You know what I mean? There's a big difference between having the book or having the first print of the book, right?
Yes.
Especially when you're a fan of the artist, the writer, the brand, whichever it is, and you want to support it too, because otherwise, if you don't support it, you don't know if it's coming back.
Yeah, and that's the biggest part. It's like for $4, $3, $4, $5 an issue, you're helping your favorite artist or writer or story arc to continue. It sucks when you get when like first 2 issues of something comes out and then it becomes questionable, and then you don't know if it's going to end. It gets cut short or whatever.
Yeah.
You don't want you don't want that to happen. Like outside of comics, like Netflix does it all the time. Netflix is like, oh, here's this season 1 of a series. A lot of people love it. Wasn't enough love. Let's just cancel it. And it's like, yo, what the F?
Or they cancel it halfway into the thing even happening.
Yeah.
It's like, finish it out. It's like, no, it's not going to do that.
For just a couple of bucks, bi-weekly or monthly or whatever, we make sure that we're there to support what we enjoy to read. So here you are. So now you're driving, right? You're driving now. You get to pick up your weeklies and bi-weeklies.
Right.
What got you into working in the industry?
So it really started to happen when New York Comic Con started back in 2006. And I've gone to New York Comic Con every year since. I don't think I haven't missed a single one. I even went during that odd COVID year because I'm completely psychotic. But I had a group of friends, and we all started discovering this thing called CGC, and we're like, "What the fuck is this?" And oh my god, you can get your things authenticated and getting your comic signed. Because I'd gone to comic signings as a kid. Who they are, I couldn't even tell you. I don't remember. But it was like you go to the comic store and be someone signing. Like, okay,
you do this book great.
Yeah, and then I'm learning about CGC with that stuff, and then my buddies were like, "You want to be a witness?" And I was like, "Sure." So I'm at New York Comic Con, and then it's years of that, and then it spirals into this weird thing where, and I'm not going to get into the logistics of it, but within 3 or 4 years of doing it, now it's like we're sitting in Stan Lee's hotel room doing a CGC signing with him, and you just gotta sit there and you're like, how the hell did I get here? You know what I mean? And then a couple of months later, we're gonna hop on a plane. Where are we going? We're going to Arizona to Todd McFarlane's office to go do a signing. Oh, all right. So then it starts becoming these things, and then hanging out with John Romita Sr. because he's local to the New York area, and his son Junior, and then you just start meeting these people, and then not only you meet them, then you're going to the shows and seeing them again. So it's like that rapport is starting to get built.
Yeah, I recognize that face. Who are you? And they start talking to you. Yeah.
They're like, and I was so intimidated by it at the beginning that my name was Hey Chief, because they looked at me like, hey Chief, haven't seen you in a while. But the only person who actually right at the get-go remembered my name, would shake my hand every time, and every time I saw him and would ask me how I'm doing, was Stan.
That's
so
awesome.
Stan Lee would always come up, shake my hand. How you doing, Rich? How's everything? And that was always, and that by that point now we're looking at like 2012, 2013, like all the Avenger movies are in swing. We just had Dark Knight trilogy and all that stuff. So now I'm just completely entrenched.
You're in it.
What I mean?
That's it.
I'm in it.
You're part of the culture. That's it.
Right. And when you get to see as much behind the curtain at that point and get to meet these people on a personal basis, and you're talking to them and seeing how the industry works and how things come together, and you're like, I couldn't imagine working at that point. I was working at a hospital, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I'm listening to somebody, and in passing, I hear him talking about, I need to get this taken care of at this building. We got to build these new hospital beds. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, I could build a hospital bed right now. Like, God damn.
Like, you know what's going on next weekend? Next weekend, I'm like hanging out with Stan. I'm over here building hospital beds.
And I was working every weekend, every holiday, evening shifts, 3 to 11. Man. So it's like I had my comics and my games and my conventions, and that was it, because my work life was completely entrenched in the time when everybody was off.
That's tough, man.
It is what it is.
But it was worth it.
It was worth it. And that's how I got to Midtown. That was a fun experience. When
did you start working in Midtown? What year was it?
It was February 2018.
All right, so that's kind of the same time we met. Like you just all right, cool. It wasn't that long ago. Okay. Yeah,
so that thing was kind of fun because, well, it starts sad because what had happened was my dad in 2015 got cancer, and December 2017, or no, Halloween of 2017, he passed away. And the minute he did, I looked at myself. I was like, "You see it, and you come to face to face with like mortality." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there. I'm like, I want to do what I want to do at this point. So I found a job listing for Midtown Comics because it was local to me. You know, it wasn't going into the city. It was at their main warehouse and stuff like that. And it was for like, I think it was like a book buyer's assistant, which I knew fuck all about. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I'm going to get this job somehow.
You're willing to learn. Yeah.
And I applied and first I applied and my application went directly in the trash, they said, because it required a college degree, which I don't have. But I'm like, oh, but here, look at all these things I've done from 2005 to 2018 in the convention scene between Stan and Todd and Ramita and Jim Lee and, you know, all these other guys, and doing these private signs, and I know the industry and I know these players and blah, blah, blah. And after like 5 phone calls, because somehow I was able to find their like HR number to talk to them. Like I was on like the hunt. You know what I mean?
And you want something, you go after it.
I did 5 phone calls and 6 job interviews for 6 different departments within Midtown. To the point that they're like, we're going to just create a department for you. You're going to be our sales manager. And I'm like, what does that mean? And they're like, it's a clean slate, make us money.
Yeah, figure it out.
And I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, I can do that. So I come in February 2018. Literally the best time you can have a clean slate, because I was hitting, they come to me and they're like, if you were going to do a cover for Action Comics 1000, because Action Comics 1000 is coming out.
That's right. That's the year. Oh, snap. Okay.
Right. So it's coming out, and they're like, if you were going to do a cover, what would you do? I'm like, I would do this, 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 this. And they're like, it's actually a really good idea. You do our variant covers from now on. And I was like, okay. So it was like this Action Comics 1000. There was like Avengers 1. You know, at the time in 2018, it was novel, but now there was like 3 different Spider-Man #1s that year or something like that. There was a Venom one by Donny Cates. It was like, who's Donny Cates?
Yeah, I remember that year. That's
turns out to be the most.
That's
He's
actually
a pivotal writer.
The same year I moved to Albany. I moved to Albany in October that year. So I was like, I think we just crossed paths, and I think you had a couple of signings that you were doing, in which I came back, and I'm hard to miss.
Yeah, man, you're moving. What was that I called that time? I'm like, he's a lighthouse. He's my marker.
Yeah,
like
I'm a beacon.
I know where the important stuff is because I see a 6'5" something man over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna start wearing red hats at the FanExpos. I'm gonna just wear red hats like that. Like you just see a red hat and it's me.
Right. That's just you. It's like there he is.
There he is.
But with Midtown, I started entrenching in a way because I now am teaching them about the CGC stuff. So now I'm like adding the revenue streams and kind of making and building this department, right? And the first signing I was actually able to do at the store for something that was completely starting to go with me was in April of 2018. And that was for Clayton Crane did our Avengers 1.
Nice.
You know, and that's how I got to meet Clayton Crane. And he had not been doing variant covers at that time. Early 2018, he's not doing variants. Like he's starting to dabble in it.
Yeah.
You know, but now you see what he does now when you see Clayton Crane.
He's a monster.
He's completely like he's like a legend at this point, and he's been around for like quite a while. So being able to dive into that type of stuff.
Books like this one.
Yep. Yep.
For those that lost their shit.
But yeah, man, I mean, it was like Midtown was great. It opened a lot of.
I could have swore you were there longer than that. Like for me, it's like I'm sorry to cut you off, but like
no.
I remember like the Frank Miller signing.
That was another thing, right? Like,
I felt like you were there for a while. I'm like, man, this guy's established here and all this stuff. In my head, like I'm no longer in New York because I moved up here, and I felt like I saw you enough times in Midtown. I'm like, oh, this guy's been here for a while, cool. And like now talking about it, and again, guys, like this is like fresh conversation Rich and I are having. I felt like I've known you more than 5 years.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's like,
you know, because it got to a point with Midtown where I'd blown up so quickly with what I was doing that there were months where I was having a signing with a big name every Thursday, every Wednesday. You know what I mean? I think there was 1 month in 2019, and it was I had Ramita Jr. and Frank Miller in for Superman Year One.
I remember that.
And then the next week I had Jim Lee in for his hardcover book. And then the next week after that, I had like either Donny Cates and Stegman or
that was it. I remember
that was it, right?
I remember like 2019, I couldn't make it to anything. And I remember like seeing this lineup and I was like, I'm so angry. And I was like, I don't live there anymore. This is unfair. I want to move back, but I hate traffic. So, you know, I had to like balance that out.
Yeah. I really wanted to go to conventions because I was always so busy with the store that instead I was like, I'm going to just bring the convention to me. I'm going to get the people that I want. I do everything as an audience of one. And, you know, that's why I designed all these now what people tell me are like iconic variant covers for Midtown. Actually, fun story for you, I doubt you know, is that my cover designs for like some of the Midtown variants have appeared now in like, you know how DC does those DC portfolio books? Yeah, the poster books. My covers are in a Matina one, a Bermeo one, and a Josh Middleton one.
So the Matina one, I'm thinking the Matina, the Batman 1000.
Yeah, with like all the Batmans lined up.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought about because I have that from when. No, I have that when he did the signing at Midtown for New York Comic Con.
Right.
And then Liber Mejo, you said?
So Liber Mejo, the Detective 1000, I did for that.
Yeah, I have that too as well signed at New York Comic Con.
I have
same
it's
year.
funny
They were both there.
I'm such a Superman guy, yet all my best stuff apparently is Batman related.
That makes sense. Even Superman's a fan.
My Harley and Ivy cover I did with Middleton.
That cover is iconic. I have that signed by him as well.
That's a good one.
Same year. That was all the same year.
2019, yeah. And then
and they were all they all signed at New York Comic Con.
I lied. I have a Superman cover. Inyuk Lee's his deceased #1, The Death of Superman homage I did.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's
awesome,
the best part of the job.
So how long were you in Midtown?
So I was in there 2018 till COVID locked everything down.
Well, then everybody, we can't have any signings. We can't have you anymore.
Can't have anything,
Yeah. That was tough.
Yeah, I mean it was tough, and that definitely it wasn't a great time. I mean, listen, as far as COVID and you being an awful time, like I can't really complain, but also like I sat at home and relaxed and caught up on a lot of sleep that I did not have. So you got to take the good with the bad, and it gave me time. Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
It sounds like, at the end of the day, as horrible as the pandemic was for a lot of people, ended up being like a gift in disguise for a lot of people at the same time. I feel that it was like an awakening.
It's tough, right? Because for some people it was an utter nightmare. For some people it was like that breath of relief that they've been dying for years, but on the routines and stuff like that. So in no way do I say it was the best thing ever or it was the worst thing ever. It all depends on individual experience.
Yeah, 100%.
So there's that. But with leaving Midtown and really not knowing what to do, like I'm looking at myself like, do I keep doing this somewhere else? Do I, just give it up entirely? So that's when me and a bunch of guys started Comic-Con Line. So we started doing everything virtually, kind of like this, but it would be like an interview tied into like, oh, this is also going to be a comic book signing. So
nice.
We did it with good names too. Like I did it with I remember a few of the shows I did. I had a Spider-Man themed show, and I had on like Pat Gleason, Mark Bagley, Rick Leonardi, and then I had one of my favorites I had was the Dead of Winter signing. So it was like February. I'm like, let's call it the Dead of Winter signing, and had Kelly Jones because I love Nightfall. Nightfall. Those covers were just beautiful, and Joe Hill. So I have. So I have these, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting notoriety like this, which dovetails into the Comic-Con Line guys. End up in a meeting with this guy from FanExpo.
Okay.
What you guys have been doing. We're very curious. We're trying to find new digital platform, this, that, and the other. So it's like, I had some experience going to shows with FanExpo. I'm doing the Comic-Con Line thing. Now I'm talking to them directly. And this is all in the midst of like
everything's connecting.
Yeah, it's all kind of just falling into place. So the Comic-Con Line thing kind of like fizzles out after a while, just because everyone ended up doing different things, and which is great. And I got to work with wonderful people. I got to do work with Bill Sienkiewicz, who I adore. I love him.
He's an amazing human being.
Yeah, I mean, great guy, super nice people. His rep,
amazing art.
His rep, Sue Carlin, I think, is one of the nicest people anyone could ever talk to. So easy to work with. Could not recommend Bill enough. And I mean, you see what Bill does. Bill did the friggin' IMAX poster for the Batman movie, and you're just like, this is fantastic.
He's
know what I mean?
I would
He's
love to get a
phenomenal.
piece from him. I'm trying to figure out. I was like
We
messing
can
around
set that
with.
up. I can help you with that.
We'll talk. We'll talk about that.
We can talk
After the
about that
fact. I was like,
offline.
I was telling Risley, I was like, maybe I could get a Michael Jordan piece from him, and he's like, he might be able to do that, and I'm like, no, I know he's capable, but would he say yes? And yeah, so that's
Probably.
like conversation. But yeah, I know he's picky with stuff. But sorry, continue.
No, that's a really good idea. I'd like to see that. Like if you got him to do like the headshot with like the 23 earring or something like that.
Yeah, or like there's so many options when it comes to MJ. Like even like him looking at the tablet smiling would be like iconic. Like there's like so many things now with like MJ, like there's not the crying face.
I
Only if he's
always
crying
think of the when he's got the arms out, that wingspan poster.
I still have that poster. I found it in my parents' house. And I
That's
rolled it up
iconic,
and I was
that
like,
poster.
I was like, holy shit, I still got this. I'm like, this is great.
Yeah.
You know,
So
MJ's still the greatest.
I'll wrap it up like a little bit quicker with where we're at now before we get to Mega. But I take a year off from everything. I get a different job. And then randomly, one of the comic coordinators for FanExpo that I've known for a bit, this guy Kevin, who again another wonderful human being, posts this thing on Facebook like, we're looking for somebody to work at FanExpo in the exhibitor team. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go apply to that, because I have like a quasi in with my buddy Kevin, and I've now been talking to the people at FanExpo for a while.
Yeah.
So I apply, and it was funny because I applied, I give my resume. Now, at this point now, I have from 2005 to now, I've been doing conventions. I have the Midtown experience, and from the Midtown thing, I did that interview with McFarlane on that build interview thing.
Yeah, that was dope.
Which was mind-blowing. I've had people like Zachary Levi and Impractical Jokers film a commercial for Shazam in the store.
At downtown.
I've had Amazon for The Boys and Garth Ennis at this thing. So like there's notoriety there at this point.
Yeah.
The FanExpo team sees it, I think like, oh, no notes, we're gonna just put you right into an interview. And I was like, complete 180 from my Midtown interview. You know what I mean? It's like I went from doing 6 interviews, 5 phone calls to just here's one interview, we love you. You're in.
Yeah. That's freaking awesome, man.
And we're here now. And then within my first 2 months at FanExpo, they're like, you're doing MegaCon.
I remember I don't even know how we spoke about it. No, I found that somehow I think you posted on your Facebook or something that you were like now working for FanExpo. And my that's how we connected, because my buddy and I, shout out to Cole. I know he'll be watching. Cole, what up? We're talking about, let's go to MegaCon. All right, cool. And then Liz hit me up, and she was working with someone to try to get. She wanted to be a guest there, and I was interviewing her. It's probably we're documented. It's documented on YouTube of her and I chatting, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to go to MegaCon FanExpo." And I was like, "Oh, maybe I can help you with that. I'm not really sure." And this is how funny how things go full circle. And she's like, "Oh my God, really?" And she's like, "Oh, well," and she was like trying to get with the details. And I'm like, "We'll talk about it after the recording." And it's recorded. It's so funny. And then after the fact, I was like, "Yeah, let me reach out. I have a buddy, Rich, who works for FanExpo. I'm like, if he can help, great. If he can't, listen, I'm trying. Yeah, I tried." And I forget to reach out to you. She texts me like a week and a half later. And I think it's one of the fastest things that ever happened, right? It was just like, I think she texted me like at 9:00 in the morning. I reach out to you like at 9:15, and then you're like, "I need this, I need that," and I'm like, I text her, "Is it okay?" And she's like, "Yeah," and I'm like, "Here," and then like by 12:30, you both messaged me at the same time. She goes, "Thank you." You're like, "She's in," and I was like, I'm sitting in front of my computer at work.
Right.
Like, all this stuff happens. And I was like, that's the beauty of the networking with people. Like, things move like that sometimes. And it's not just the network portion of it, because you can network with anyone, but it's also the credibility, right? And
and she had a ton of credibility. Actually, it was funny the way I not sold it. Sold it's like kind of like downplaying because I'm just like, here she is. Here's her Instagrams and all that stuff, and you could see the followers and everything. And I realized I saw a picture of her in her Wonder Woman outfit on these like rocks by a beach.
That started everything.
And I remember like months prior to this, like seeing that photo before that and thinking it was the movie. And I was like, whoa, it's not, you know? So by the time I put two and two together and I was talking with the guest team about her, I was like, we got to have her. You know, she's a delight. She's wonderful.
Yeah. One of the sweetest human beings. I actually, she's not going to make it to MegaCon this year. She already made it public. She's having her second child. Beautiful thing.
I saw it. That's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy for her. I remember she messaged me. She's like, "Don't say anything," and then she announced it. Obviously, with her Wanda Vision cosplay. It was like she makes it fun, and
she does.
So like Cole and I. Well, Cole's a huge fan of hers, and we're all friends. And we're like, we have to go to MegaCon. We're going to be there to support Liz, and you know, we all hung out, and it was a beautiful thing. And again, thank you for helping with that. It was big for her. It was big for us. And you know, everyone just there was a point we were there. They were singing one of these Disney songs, and there was these kids, like all these kids that came around where they were all singing something. I can't even think about the song right now. And I remember recording it, and I was like, yo, this is happening. I'm seeing not what she's capable of, but I'm seeing what the cosplay community is capable of. When you see kids, like, you know,
because it's not a cosplayer to them.
No, that's their hero. And I'm seeing kids that go around and they're all singing with her and taking these pictures. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it because I was living the moment there, and I was recording it and I put it on my story. And I was like, it's not just, well, she's amazing at what she does, but it was like, I noticed that one day, like just all the kids like running to these cosplayers, random cosplayers. Oh my God, look, it's Batman. Oh my God, look, it's Moon Knight. And taking these pictures with kids. And that's something that like, you know, it's kind of take it for granted, but like this is why a lot of people in the cosplay community enjoy doing what they're doing, because I don't know. I wish I could make a kid fucking smile. I'm 6'7". I scare the shit out of kids.
You scare shit out of me.
I scare the shit out of a lot of people.
It always goes back to me when I see a cosplayer and I see the kid like kind of nervous to talk to a cosplayer or whatever, getting shy, you know, like kids do. And it brings me back every time I see that show. It brings me back to seeing Batman in the white Nikes at that comic book store opening.
Exactly.
And I'm like, that's when it's fantastic. That's what a kid sees, and it's just like all the troubles of the world that they haven't experienced yet. It's like they just get to sit there and just enjoy this moment, and to them it's real, and that's what makes it wonderful. And that's why cosplayers are very valued members of our community and what we do, because they're the ones 100%. That they're kind of like the gateway for kids to be like, is it real?
Yeah,
you know,
you have no idea. And when you talk to them, and I had quite the amount on the show where like they just get in character, and it's like, I can't use my powers here in this universe, and like they'll say something like that, and it's like kids their heads are blowing up, you know, and like, oh my God, well, you have to get back, you know, and you know, whatever. And it's like, man, like, it's such a beautiful thing. And when I saw that at MegaCon, and MegaCon last year was pretty much the introduction of normalcy again after the pandemic. And to see the amount of people that were there, I think, what was it, like 75,000, something ridiculous.
I think grand total was like 150,000.
Yeah, I think the Saturday alone was like 75. It was ridiculous.
Saturday was like 70 to 85,000. It was pretty ridiculous.
And that place was huge. And I remember just looking around, and I was like, yo, we're back. Like, it's normal again. And I remember my buddy Cole, I was like, hey, we have to make sure we come back to this every year. He's not going to make it this year, but I'll be there. And yeah, MegaCon for me was like, yeah, this is the bigger con, and it's tough this year. I hate talking about rivalries or anything like that, but it's the same weekend as C2E2,
yes.
and personally, it was tough for me because like, oh man, should I go into Murphy's to be a C2E2? And I was like, oh man, that's the dude. But like, I'm going to see him. I'm always going to see him. Like, I'll see him.
You'll see him at Wicked Con in April.
Yeah, I'll see him at Wicked Con. I'll see him in New York. Or, maybe I'll go to Toronto. He likes going to Toronto. I'll see him again. But I was like, no, I need to go to MegaCon because MegaCon for me is the beginning of the con season. Like, it's established as the beginning of the con season, and it's not like a small con to go to. It's massive.
Mega almost.
Yeah, a little mega. The funny story about looking for MegaCon and telling people I'm going to MegaCon in Florida. If you Google MegaCon, you got to make sure you look at the right one, guys, because there's also like a really religious one. Not knocking any religion. There's like there's a Christianity. There's a Christian MegaCon. It's pretty funny. When I found it, I was like, "Oh no, I'm not buying tickets to this."
You got to send me that. I'd like to see it. The Roman Catholic in me is very curious now to hear about.
Oh, I'll send it to you. I was like, I was in tears when I found it because I was like, nah, this ain't it.
Hey, listen, if I guess God bless him. I hope it goes well.
Yeah, apparently it does. That being said, we spoke about your upbringing, Midtown, and FanExpo. Before we get into anything else, I want to like show a little bit of your collection.
Oh God. Okay.
All right. So, this Rich has some access to people, and I'm gonna just start off with this one because I saw this and I'm like, this is flipping amazing.
Oh, the Adam Hughes.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it's real nice.
Where'd you manage to get this one?
Actually, that was so I have a couple of friends. They're facilitators also for CGC. If anyone wants to look them up, called Agents of Slabs. They're like, we're going to be going down to Adam Hughes's. Is there anything you're looking for? He might be doing remarks. And for anyone that doesn't know, there's differences between a remark and a sketch, right? Like a remark is supposed to be like that big. You know what I mean? And they're like, Adam Hughes is going to be doing remarks. It's probably going to be that big. And I'm like, here's a Catwoman blank. See what happens. And you get that. And I think they got Adam Hughes. I think there's an Adam Hughes. There's a few ways to get Adam Hughes in the next couple of months. And he'll probably be doing stuff like this or better.
Wicked Con,
but I think it's like
WickedCon.
Agents of Slabs has a private signing.
Yes,
and CGC has a private signing where the remark sold out in like.
It's all limited.
Yeah,
it was all limited. But
when you're looking at what you get, and I think of Adam Hughes and it's like you got to get something like Catwoman or Wonder Woman or something like that.
Zatanna. I have a Zatanna.
Yeah, Zatanna.
Over here. Yeah, I have a couple of things I'm prepping for him to sign for me. And I'll throw a blank if you could do anything for me. I don't care if it's like a scribble. I'll take it. These bad boys.
The Neil Adams is my God. So the Superman one is kind of funny. So I met Neil Adams I commissioned Neil Adams for this sketch at Terrificon. What is it, like 2015, 2016? Which is a great show. And
Terrificon's a great show.
Great show. And he's like, oh, it's going to be X amount for the sketch. I'm like, Neil, can you make sure you put the S in on Superman at least? And he's like, oh, it's like a bus. I'm like, see what you could do. So Neil does it. And he's like, just to let you know, sorry, I was eating lunch while I was doing your sketch, so there might be a little bit of burrito juice on your book. And
I still got a 9.8.
I'm like, oh no. So a couple of months later was New York Comic Con, so I ran into Sabine Rich at the recommendation of a few of the guys, and they brought it to her, and she colored that. So Neil Adams did
nice.
the inking and everything, and Sabine Rich did the coloring, and I was like, oh my god, fantastic! You know,
That looks
and the
amazing.
Batman, like you can't get Neil Adams and not get a Batman.
Nah, of course.
God rest his soul. What an artist! I regret not getting a Green Lantern.
So yeah, these are two beautiful pieces by Neil Adams, man. May he rest in peace, man. I remember hearing the news. I was actually walking my buddy. I think it was Grumps, and who else was I with? I think it was Nando Knight. My buddy Nando. We were walking to Forbidden Planet when the news broke, and yeah, that was just tough, man. That's anytime you lose anyone, but like a legend, is tough.
Especially Neil did. Neil was a personality for sure.
Yeah,
I actually had a lot of love, gained a lot more love for Neil during COVID because he was like one of the only like big artists that were first doing those auction streams,
the live
COVID.
shows. Yeah,
and honestly, it was awesome because it's like you're watching all the COVID news and stuff, and it's like on my phone, I would just have the Neil Adams stream going on of like art, and I'm like, the little comforts of what used to be.
But it was you still had something,
You had something. Like, you had something to latch onto, which was wonderful during that time.
Yeah. And also that man knew how to make money, man. That guy, he was a grinder. And
that dude worked. He could find $1 in a blacked out room and nobody was in the room, and he'd still find someone to give him that $1 because he was Neil Adams. How could you say no?
He changed the industry. He taught a lot of creators how to make money, and
he's also the reason creators have some semblance of control on their property. He's the reason whenever you see anything Superman related that it says Superman created by Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster. That's because of Neil Adams.
Yeah.
He helped Jerry Robinson get the recognition for the Joker.
Yeah.
Like he revolutionized as far as like the safety net after the fact.
Yeah.
Of doing the character.
He made sure that he made sure guys got paid, man.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's you could work for Marvel, you could work for DC, and sadly, like Bill Finger die on your couch and not have anything, and you have a guy like Neil Adams who said, you know what, no, there's a way for us to make money. We have to make sure that we get to that. Sadly, in a way, it's like it comes to a cost to us sometimes as a consumers, but if we do appreciate what they do, and we have to make sure we give them some value.
Well, the comic industry is like a weird thing now, right? Like back in the day, it was your goal as a comic book artist was to get on Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man, or the X-Men.
Yeah.
That was what you wanted to be on. That's when you knew you made it. Now the industry, if you look at people like James Tynion and stuff, is
a beast.
He's phenomenal. But a lot of these creators, Snyder has done it too, and a few of the guys, is you use Batman or Spider-Man as your launching point to your creator own. Like you get that audience and you
build that name.
Yeah,
you build that name. They love your storyline, and then it's like, oh, what else do you do? And now, and then here I am reading Something's Killing the Children.
Phenomenal.
Department of Truth, like, damn it.
Department of Truth, man. Oh man, that's begging to be a TV show. Begging.
If that's not like both of those.
Oh yeah.
Well, Something's Killing the Children. There's talks with Boom Studios and Netflix, and Department of Truth, like it's episodes. Every issue is an episode.
It's episodic. It's a Law and Order, but like crazy conspiracy theories. And
everything's a conspiracy theory in today's day and age. If you scroll enough on TikTok, you go down these rabbit holes, and it's like, make it a TV series, make it a video game, make it something. Like there's so much opportunity with Department of Truth.
James is phenomenal at world building, right?
Yeah.
Like his mind is just different than a
Scares the
lot
shit
of
out of
people.
me.
Oh my god! And he's also like when you talk to him, he's one of the nicest people you can ever talk to.
Yeah, he's like such a great person.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
All right, so let's see what other fun things you have in your collection.
Oh, all right, yeah. I
saw this.
Yeah,
and I'm not even a Star Wars guy, dude. I'm not. I was like, yo, this is dope as fuck.
So I always wanted to do a Star Wars jam piece, right?
Okay.
I'm a big Star Wars guy, and to me, Star Wars is always Vader and Jedi Luke. Like that is Return of the Jedi. Luke and Vader is growing up. That was my favorite Star Wars one. Now, Giuseppe Camicoli, who does a ton of work on Vader, he did the Vader, and it's like, look at that, it's beautiful. And sitting next to him was Cale New, who is again phenomenal talent,
a monster.
Super young, so his career is only gonna have this crazy longevity, and he's already such a name. And I looked at him and I was, oh, they're all fantastic. Anybody from the Scott's Collectibles team, when you go to a show, you know, Kale, Alan Qua, Giuseppe Camicoli, Lee Bermeo, Francesco Mattina, whoever, James Tynion, you know, Martin guys, and Alvaro. Yeah, but it's like, how could you not do that? And the back of that book actually has Alan Qua did a Darth Maul and Martin Simmons did an Obi-Wan.
Gee, I failed that again in the back of the book.
I
was too happy with the front. Like,
the front's a childhood thing right there. It's like,
not being a Star Wars guy. Not being a Star Wars guy, I just enjoyed it. I was just like, you know, again, I have to rewatch Star Wars so I can enjoy it again. But I saw this and I'm like, yeah, this is massive. Like, I would like to do something like this.
There's ways to do a jam piece book, and it's not doing 4 floaty heads hanging out on the book. Oh, John Bogdanov. So this was from the CGC private signing.
Okay.
Now, I'm cool enough with people from CGC, people like Brittany McManus and Josh Gray, and you know they're all wonderful people and stuff like that. And I was like,
Britt, love Britt. She's an amazing human being.
Britt's fantastic. She's one of the nicest people you could deal with, and has such a firm grasp on what she's doing that it's like makes it so easy.
She's a beast, and like she's just this, you know, just amazing human being. And again, for those that don't know all these people, there's a lot of people in this
micro universe.
This micro universe of like nerdism, where we all work in this somehow, and we all kind of connected. But there's a lot of good people. I know I'm jumping out of our conversation just to let you know, like, as much as you hear whatever negative nonsense, understand that negative nonsense is 10, you know, it gets blown up 10 times the amount of anything. At the end of the day, there's a lot more good than there is negative in this community. So other names we're talking about, they're not just the regular people that you'll come across almost every single Comic-Con. Like you're going to come across these people. You might not know who they are, but they're the ones who are going to help you. And they're like the names you would never meet, you would never know, that yet they gave you the most. And you know, I just wanted to say that because we're constantly saying how great people are, and that's because
the industry is like a Yelp review, right? It's like you don't write on Yelp if you had a great experience. You know, it had to be a phenomenal experience for you to write that Yelp review. Normally, if it's the shits, that's when you write it.
I just did that with the post office I go to.
See,
the post office. I was like, I just looked up post office to see what time they close. Mm-hmm. And then right down the street from my job, and I saw they only had 3 stars. I'm like, are you kidding me? Those people are flipping awesome. And I saw like the reviews they gave. So I was like, nope, 5 stars. Yeah. And, you know, and for everyone out there, give great Yelp reviews. Don't just give negative ones.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, be fair, you know?
Yeah, be fair in both ways.
For every shit review you write on somebody, you should be required to write 5 good ones for the people. that at least
Like-
take care of you and stuff.
Yelp, you should flag people who only give shit reviews, because if they're not giving any good ones, that means that's all they're doing is giving shit reviews. They should get banned from Yelp.
You will never be sponsored by Yelp just because of this.
I'm not going to say anything else. So
But
back
yeah,
to this piece.
Bogdanov, cornerstone of that whole death and return of Superman story arc for me.
Yeah.
Drew a very definitive Superman. It's all because of the friggin' hands. The hands on his characters don't look like hands on any other comic character you will ever see.
Dude, he should have knocked some people out with those hands. Look at the size of them thing.
Those are rocks. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And hands are not easy to draw, and he made those look like the most fierce fucking hands you'll ever deal with.
I'm scared of them. Let's go to the next piece. This beautiful thing.
Kale. Yeah. We love Kale.
He's a monster, man. I don't have the book that he did for me here, but I picked up this variant. It was like Venom dunking on Spider-Man.
Oh, that's the Frankie's Comics variants. Yeah, when he was doing the sports variants and stuff. And man, that was a good idea too. You had like Venom in like Spider-Man in a wrestling ring. He had Miles like playing basketball.
He had all these basketball ones, and I was like, oh shit, I'm done, guys. So I was like, oh, which one I'm gonna get? And it was like, I need to get the one with Venom dunking on Spider-Man. Like, this is awesome. And everyone was like, oh, you selling that? I was like, nah. And I posted it on my story, and I was like, no. And it's a Marvel book, guys. Yeah, I get it, but it represents something that I'm passionate about.
There you go. Yeah, and that's where the best one it all crosses over, right? But yeah, Kale, he's a talent. He does his line work is not like any line work I've ever seen on an artist with like all those little micro lines. Like if you look in the arms and stuff like that, and
he brings a ruler out too. I see him bring the ruler out and just go nuts, and I'm like, yo, cool.
he's tons of fun. Plus, I love the Cyborg Superman character for a multitude of reasons. He is the first villain I really read about in comic books. Plus, he's like he's kind of messed up as a villain too, because like as a kid you're reading the story and it's like this guy wipes out Green Lantern City and kills like millions of people. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just in one panel. And it's just like, that's evil. You know what I mean? Like, this is not a character who's looking for redemption or anything like that. Plus, it's like, if you're growing up in that early 90s, it's that Terminator and RoboCop and that half robot thing. So when you see, again, that Jurgens design of this half robotic Superman, and it's a mystery, like, is this really this character from now on? As a kid, like, you don't know, like, that's a villain right out the gate. People who are wise to it, like in the books, are like, yeah, you know, that's not a good guy. You know what I mean? But it's also a fun sketch to get, in my opinion, because you can't half-ass that character. Like Spider-Man, you could just do a couple, a few lines, you're done. This guy, he's a challenge, and you get the right artist, you get something like this because they want that challenge.
Well, you know, I guess the one question is probably going to come up. I'm not going to ask your price. What does something like this cost for like anyone at a con if he does a full page? What do you think?
Got to be. I think a bust sketch is now like $250 plus, and I think Kale right now, if you try to get on his list, it's probably like a couple of years old now. You know, it's a beefy weight. You know, between him and Alan, like their commission lists are wild.
Which makes sense. Yeah, they're amazing artists. So yeah, it's good to know because it's going to come up. I'll probably get DMs about how much stuff like this is going to cost. So I had to.
Sure. No, I have no problem given that it's, you know, it doesn't bother me at all.
So next one up, all these bad boys. That's
again, like, you know, and we're kind of covering like a wide range here. Like there's the Kale piece up there. There's Gordon Murphy right next to it. And the reason why I had Gordon Murphy do one is he did a very cool return of Superman with the Force Superman poster just randomly. It's like on his internet thing. You can look it up. It's so cool. The Sienkiewicz one, which is the third at the top, is another one where it was like Bill did some of the trading card art for Death and Return of Superman. They had these really long cards, and that was like another first experience of those, and getting his card of the Cyborg Superman. I'm like, I need to have that at some point. And there's that. And then one next to it's Francesco Mattina, who, again, when you talk to Matt, he is a phenomenal artist and a phenomenal human being. I don't care what anyone says. Right at the bottom of that one, Dan Jurgens. You got to have the OG. If you're gonna be into any character, you got to have an OG person for them. You know, so you had to have that. The next one is from Alan Qua, the red and black one. He actually sent that to me as a gift during COVID.
Wow.
Where he's like, "How's it going?" And I'm like, "Oh man, you know, it's crazy not being able to leave the house." And he felt the same way. He's like, "Let me do something for you." So that's how we get that piece. And I actually have that framed and up in my place.
Hey, Alan, I can't leave my house.
And the next one after it, actually, those two pieces are tied together. And those are both by Doug Mankey, who to me is a workhorse DC Comics guy, is always the artist on the big event thing in the modern things that you see. It gets no credit. So he did a Cyborg Superman for me, which is amazing, and gave me an original art page, which I think is from Action, like 997 or something like that.
That is amazing, man.
Yeah, that was
Doug
that's
Mankey. Doug Mankey's a beast, man. He also puts up those deadlifts.
Yeah, and again, everybody that did art there, you could go meet anyone at the show, and you will always have a pleasant experience. Always.
Yeah, and a lot of those guys, you know, again, guys, FanExpo, a lot of those guys are found in FanExpo. You want to make sure you look at those guest lists and look for them. When it comes to, I think I actually had a podcast about like prepping for Comic Cons, and one of the things is getting on guest lists, right? Getting on not a guest list, getting on commission lists.
Commission lists,
yeah. It's not easy. There's like multiple ways of getting to it. You know, if you could email or DM the talent, or get to their handlers, or make it first thing the moment you get to a con.
You got to prioritize.
It's not easy, guys. I know last year at MegaCon, Art Germ,
oh my god,
was one of the biggest things. I personally have a press pass. I have access to go in early. I didn't even try because I was like, you know what? I'd rather get a bunch of other things signed. As much as I want an Art Germ piece, I'm like, I'm not going to try because I personally rather get a bunch of the stuff I wanted to get signed. There wasn't a line yet when I got there. You know, and again, for a person who has a press pass, I got in early. But once the doors opened,
well, you also got to think about it too, right? Like when you're doing a convention, like how important is it to get on that convention list? Because you're getting on a line knowing that guy might not be there for a couple of hours. So
yeah, it's and maybe, you know what, Rich, I'll bring you back. And we'll do a second episode on prepping for conventions, because
yeah, absolutely.
You know, I did one with Sammy Warmhands from the Bad Addict podcast. What up, Sammy? And you know, it was more about like how we prep, and you know, you look at the guest list, you look at times, you follow them on Twitter, you put notifications, you follow them on Instagram, you put notifications, because things change. You get an Excel. You know, if you want to go the Risley route, you get an Excel sheet with you know, like, you know, you get your A and B schedule like you're in high school, and like you just prep and you do all that stuff. So that's a whole different thing. But to get sketches is not easy. To get sketches, to get remarks, you have to understand, is the artist willing to do sketches? Do they have a list? When does the list start? There's so many factors, and we'll talk about that in a later episode. Before,
sure.
the
Do
con
it
season
after
breaks out.
MegaCon when I'm completely beat up.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it after MegaCon after I get all my sketches. Then we'll
Yeah.
chat, guys.
Exactly. Mhm.
But now let's talk about MegaCon. MegaCon's right around the corner. At this moment, guys, it's 9:42 p.m. It's 2:17 Friday evening. Michael Jordan's birthday. And MegaCon is the end of March
Mhm.
into April. It's not on my calendar.
It's March 30th to April 2nd.
2nd. There we go. So it's a 4-day con.
Yes.
It's one of the few 4-day cons that we actually have. And the beauty of it is, let's say, for example, you fly into Orlando Thursday. What time does it start? Is that 2 or 4?
2 o'clock for the VIPs and stuff like that.
Cool.
And the early
Yeah,
birds.
so there we go.
4 o'clock for everyone.
So on a Thursday, you could fly into Orlando first thing in the morning, drop your
Tired
stuff
already
off.
just thinking about it.
Drop your stuff off because this is what I'm doing. You could drop your stuff off or not and go straight to the con, right? And at 2, if you're a VIP, boom, you start knocking things out. Guess what? Most people are working. A lot of people are not going to go to the con on a Thursday because it's a short day.
Or they go at like 5 or 6 o'clock at night, when.
Yeah, and then knock things out.
But, and I'll say this, the Thursday is your biggest contention for people getting exclusives and on those commission lists.
Bro, letting all the secrets. So now, what happens on Thursdays? Let's go down this rabbit hole, guys. So, all right. So one of the exclusives they have coming out is this little bad boy right here.
That one's been out. That one came out Sam Fran.
It did? Oh
yeah,
man.
that one we've had. Yeah,
but it's going to be a MegaCon.
I still have them for MegaCon too. Yeah,
right,
I've been releasing in waves, and I always got one for you, Dave.
All right, guys. My bad. So let's now it's only going to be this one picture that I have saved. So here are a few of the exclusives. One of them has already been launched on the site. Is it the red sun, the red moon, or whatever?
Yeah, the spot color with the red moon on the Batman 423.
The 423 over here on the bottom right hand corner. It's already on the website. I think it's sold out because it's sold out what you have on the site, not at MegaCon.
I'm going to be bringing them to the show.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. We had 2 versions of this book already. Which was the red foil and the yellow foil. And they were only available at shows and sold out. So this version, I wanted to be accessible to people who can't always make the shows.
Yeah.
So
I remember you posted the link for it and I shared it. And I was lucky enough that a couple of people who followed me actually picked up the book. And I was like, oh, great. Good for them.
Yeah.
I didn't buy it because I'm going to be a MegaCon. I'll get it. I'm not worried.
Right.
But for those of you, when it comes to Batman 423, it's a very exclusive. It's a very popular book. Clearly, Todd McFarlane cover. Every variation that comes out of it, there's something special. One, all the imperfections are always cleared out, right? Because he talks about it all the time. The moon not being fully filled in.
Or the whatever. Moon has in the left side of the cape, the moon isn't colored in.
Yeah, and the original
right by his head, it's not colored in either.
Yeah,
right where the cape touches like the top of his mask.
Yeah, it's the funniest thing. But if you can't find a copy, you have to find an exclusive, find something. They're all amazing, man. Just to have any of these part of your collection. I haven't seen any comic book reprints yet. At comic shops, they haven't done any. Was it facilities yet or whatever?
So it's weird with those types of things, right? Like DC really doesn't do that many facsimiles, whereas Marvel wants to make facsimiles more than they want to make like new books. It seems like, and the
there's money in
facsimiles
it.
sell, man. The facsimiles sell. For that guy who couldn't get a Spider-Man 300 when it came out in 1989 and doesn't have about like $2 to $10 grand to drop right now, like facsimile for $4 seems pretty good.
Yeah.
Well,
for me, I have a Batman Adventures 12 first appearance of Harley Quinn.
Yep.
I'm not going to crack it open, but the reprint came out, so I bought that for like they had the $1 one and they had one for like $4 or whatever. So I bought both.
Yeah, that's when they had the banner. It said $1 comics on
Yeah,
it.
the $1 comic one. Those are great, man. I was buying every single one of them because I'm like, great.
Yeah.
Because when I get this book, this is the copy I'm going to open and look at. It's the same thing, but I just can't open the original copy because it's worth something. And you know what? Whatever. I might never sell it, but whatever. If something ever happens to me, someone who needs it will. But I can still look at the inside of the book somehow. So if you have opportunity to go to MegaCon, guys, there could be some books that you might want to get. Those are a few. They're not only going to be accessible to MegaCon, right? You might have a few copies at other fan expos.
So
maybe
on the picture you had up, I had the rainbow silver foil Batman, right?
Yeah.
That one I'm going to have at MegaCon. That one's probably. I feel bad for the guys working that merch booth. I can't imagine they're going to have a grand old time for that Thursday.
Yeah.
But we also try and be fair in a way where we want to make sure people who come on Friday or Saturday or Sunday only have
spread the wealth.
Yeah, so we try and do it in waves where everybody can get a chance. But the Superman book, I have like a few versions of that I'm going to be
nice
coming through there. Same thing with the Venom Lethal Protector 2, that Doom versus Venom by Alaqua. I got some fun stuff for that. And Alan and Kale will both be at MegaCon. I got a few other things I'm working on. Some things I showed and talked to you about off camera the other day. If you're a Batman guy, there's definitely some other cool stuff coming to MegaCon. But it's a show that we always try to make sure if whoever you are, whatever your fandom, whatever you're into, cosplayers, the comics, props, toys, anime, comic books, movies, television, we try and have something for everyone. So you don't walk in. My goal at every one of these shows is to make sure there's somebody on that floor for somebody. You know what I mean? Like, nobody should ever walk out and be like, how was the con? Buzz, okay.
Yeah, I don't think how many did I go to last year? I don't even know. I went to Boston, I went to Dallas, I went to Mega.
Dallas is another great one. We love Dallas.
I'm going to Dallas this year again because Dallas is like I don't know. I don't have a bad experience at FanExpo. So personally, I'm just like, dumb with a go. Hey boss, sorry bro, I'm taking off these days. Fire me. I'll figure it out. But I haven't had a bad experience at a FanExpo at all. Even like when I went, Boston's close, so Boston from Albany is like 2 hours, and it wasn't that crazy of a comic list for me, because again, I'm a Batman guy, but like, I'm seeing the same guys I've seen at other shows, and like now we're just hanging out, and it's like, all right, let's all hang out together, and it's like, and then you build that connection, and also because of Boston Fan Expo, hopefully in a future show I would have Allison Tabitha as a guest. I befriended her, one of the bigger cosplayers in the cosplay world. I met her there, and because of that, it's like, whoa, here, man, it was nice to meet her there at Boston Fan Expo. And there's, every Fan Expo is a different experience. Stood in line for Frank Miller, and and was it? What did you give me? Cheesecakes or like pieces of like fudge?
Oh, the
What's up?
fudge
Yeah, in
from
front of Frank
the
Cho.
Copper Coast guys. We have a vendor at all our Fan Expo shows called Copper Coast, and they make this fudge. And I swear to
Phenomenal.
Christ, it's why I've gained an extra like 10 pounds
It's
last
not
year.
even fair how good it is, man.
Oh, because sometimes you go, and it'll happen to everybody when you go to a show. You'll be 9 hours deep in a show, and you'll be like, "Uh-oh, I haven't eaten yet."
I didn't eat anything. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm just sitting there like pounding away at this like peanut butter fudge thing, and I'm just like, it's a good first meal of the day.
I think I was standing in line. It was Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Sunday. I was standing in line for Frank Cho. We were waiting. He was running a little late, and I was in
Yeah.
front of the line. I was witnessing for someone, and you popped out of nowhere with this, and I was like, "Wow, can I give a piece to this guy? You know, he's waiting in line with me, you know." And you were like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Cool." And he was like, "Oh, that's really nice of you." And I was like, "Bro, we've been standing here for like 45 minutes, man. I'm not gonna let you hanging, you know." And
Yeah, right.
and you know, again, another sense of the community. And then Frank Cho comes out, and think about Frank and I. He Frank and I have this ongoing joke where every time he sees me, he's like, "Oh, do you play basketball or something?" And I think I saw him probably like 7 times last year at Comic Cons.
Ask you
And
every single time, Dave.
every single time he didn't give up. And it was like, yo, this guy's great. And even at Boston, I was hanging out with Bob Shaw and Randy.
Bob's
And
great.
yeah, Bob's great. Randy's great. Guys, if you have opportunity, go to WickedCon. If you don't know what WickedCon is, look it up. Look at the lineup.
Honestly, I'll say this as a FanExpo employee, that list is fantastic for Wicked Con.
Dude, and they keep on bringing more people out.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
They're nice guys, you know. And you know, shout out to Wicked Con also because they offer FanExpo a spot to talk about the Boston show, and I'll be at Wicked Con for that too. Same as last year.
Yeah, same as last year, but last year was a little different, right? Because you were like traveling
last year I
between
came up.
cons.
Last year they flew me up. I was at because Philly was the same weekend.
Yeah,
FanExpo Philly. So I went to Philly, flew up to
Friday.
Boston for the day.
Saturday.
Yeah, on Saturday I got to Boston at like 2 p.m. or like 1 p.m, and then at 8 o'clock at night hopped back on the plane and flew right back down to Philly.
That was ridiculous, dude. Yeah, we met up that day, and I was just like, bro, good for you, because I wish I could have made Philly. I don't have a private plane.
No, me neither. My private plane's name was Delta.
But yeah, again, I was with Bob and Randy, and here's Frank walking in, and Bob goes, hey, Dave, you know Frank, right? And Frank goes, hey, do you play basketball or something? And I'm like, fucking go again, dude. I love that guy. Great guy. And again, guys, this is a part of the community, how phenomenal artists and the people we deal with are. But there's one thing Rich and I we have to talk about. So there's this phenomenal thing that happened earlier in the week, right? There's a bunch of guys playing with pigskin, and they were bumping into each other and all this shit. But between or before all this, there's all these commercials, right? And one of the commercials that popped up clearly, you and I both agreeing, it was called The Flash, but a lot of us
it's a new Batman movie.
It's a new Batman movie. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not. No one cares about the Flash. Sorry, guys, if you're a Flash fan or whatever, but if you're a fan of Ezra Miller, cool, good luck. But the main focus and what everyone's talking about is what?
Michael Keaton and
Keaton.
Ben Affleck, but we're talking Michael Keaton, definitely.
Yeah, hands down. Here he is, 34 years later, right? From originally being
from that 89 movie.
From the 89 movie.
with that VHS opening with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck that I started.
Just coming back, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I mean,
Batman.
he's the one guy, right? Like you could make the case for Christopher Reeve if he was still with us
Yeah.
and was able to do it. But Christopher Reeve actually came back and did stuff in like Smallville and things like that, little cameos here and there. But seeing Michael Keaton in a Batman suit, you know, saying I'm Batman, and then you got the music, he's leaping off a ledge for some reason.
The crazy CGI.
Yeah, is more athletic than he was 30 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you got me. Hook, line, sinker, you got my money with that. It's the same effect with hearing Tobey Maguire was going to be Spider-Man No Way Home. It's like you got my money regardless.
It's those things. And you know, I remember I wasn't watching the Super Bowl yet because I don't have Fox here in upstate New York. So I was like trying to find a way to watch it, and all I got was like, "Hey, did you see it?" And I'm like, "What the fuck are people talking about?" I got these text messages. Then I got the link. I went on YouTube, and I saw the trailer on YouTube, and I was just like, "Yo, it's actually happening." I'm only 4 months away. Can we fast forward? Can we fast forward 4 months? Because it's like normally you watch a trailer, and it's like 2 years from now, and it's like, oh fuck. Yeah. That's what it was in the beginning. And now it's like, no, it's been recording. The pandemic is over. We're way past this. We're making sure that Ezra Miller doesn't get arrested. He filmed his scenes. We're gonna, Michael Keaton filmed him scenes. We're not canceling this. Ben Affleck's here. He filmed his scenes because a lot of people forgot there was so much footage during the pandemic of what was getting filmed. Right. And somehow everyone forgot about it. And now it's like, oh my God, Ben Affleck's in this? And I'm like, do you not remember?
Well, I mean, you're also getting like the news reports if you follow these things too, right? Like the Ben Affleck stuff's been cut. The Henry Cavill stuff's been cut. The Gal Gadot stuff's been cut. And then it's like, oh wait, the Ben Affleck stuff is back in. You know, it's just this movie is its own Flashpoint paradox.
Yeah, just like, it is. But when the trailer came out, I was excited to know it's only 4 months away. Like that's it. Yeah. I'm like, I knew all this is here. All right, great. We're 4 months away now. Survive another 120 days.
That's it, right? Yeah. Like, just gotta make it through. I gotta see Michael Keaton tear it up one more time. It could have been 2 more times if they didn't cancel that Batgirl movie, but whatever.
Exactly.
Warner Brothers just wants to hurt me every chance it can get.
That's what they do, man. That's what the fuck they do. But I'm excited. Again, I don't have a negative thing about it yet. It's for wait till the movie comes out. But I want to hit up a quick speed round with you. We normally do a quick Q&A. Nothing too crazy. First off, pizza, Chicago, New York.
New York.
That's easy. Beaches or lakes?
Ooh, I grew up on a beach, so I'm gonna say I know my skin doesn't reflect that. I'm gonna say a lake. In my older golden years, I'm gonna say a lake.
You can't go wrong with lakes, man. The next
lakes are nice. I don't have to worry about high tide with a lake.
Well, I'm an upstate New York guy. I love my lakes, dude.
Lakes are nice.
Next is genre of music.
Oh, classic rock.
Classic rock, awesome. DC, Marvel.
DC.
Dinner with anyone dead or alive. That's like a loaded question.
It's a loaded question because it's like I've had dinners with a lot of people I've always wanted to, especially in this industry, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like you know what? I'd probably want to have dinner. I guess this is kind of a cheat, but I'd want to have dinner with every living. Oh, you said it could be living or dead, right?
Dead or alive.
I'd probably want to have dinner with every single U.S. president.
Every single one of them?
At once, like a banquet type thing. And I just want to hear the fucking spiral of how that goes. You know,
Dude,
I just want somebody.
That's a fucking answer.
Right?
That's an answer. I never. That wow. That's a.
Like, I want to hear 200 years of American history in real time during the appetizer round.
That's a fucking answer. I like. Hold on. I gotta write that one down. All U.S. presidents.
All of them. Like, could you imagine, like,
no,
Bush or Trump talking to, like, Lincoln and Washington?
no.
You know, I want to see the Roosevelts talking to each other. Like,
Well,
this is the shit I want to see.
Like, just Lincoln out of nowhere, just fucking. Well, there's so many of them. Oh man.
Yeah. Plus, it's like, I want to see what they eat. You know what I mean?
Generational shit. Like,
yeah, dude.
Like, oh, I'll have this bison. We don't fucking eat bison anymore.
Yeah, like Teddy Roosevelt's going to come in like, I brought in this meat from this animal I literally just killed outside.
Or like, I'm smoking off my pipe. I'm smoking out of my fucking vape. I don't know. Like,
yeah, that's the thing. They're going to look and be like, what's a vape? And you're going to just.
That should be like an episode of something like that.
Right.
AI. Hey, AI, can you show us this?
I'm saying, like, you'll 200 years of history in one go.
I like that. That's nice. That's awesome. That's a great answer. Favorite fast food?
Ooh, quarter pounder with cheese from McDonald's.
Dude, I went a really long time without eating McDonald's, and then I started like eating McDonald's again, and I'm like, fuck.
It's a slippery slope, man.
It's horrible.
You know? See, for me, my mom, when she told me, she's like, when she always means like, when I was pregnant with you, I craved quarter pounders with cheese. And it just explains to me, like, you could put me near McDonald's and I'm just in the vicinity of one, and I'm going to be like, ooh, a QPC would be good right now. So, yeah, McDonald's quarter pounder with cheese for me.
McDonald's is so tasty.
Yeah, I don't know what drugs they're putting in there, but it's working.
They're putting something in there. All right, this is one of my favorite questions. This is my favorite question ever to ask. If you could eat one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, egg sandwiches. I love an egg sandwich.
Ooh.
Like a
So like egg sandwich, you could always add something else to it?
Yeah, like if it's an egg sandwich and it's like if I wanted to have like a bacon, egg, and cheese on a roll or like a sausage, egg, and cheese on a roll, like, you know, if it's the same thing, like, do I get to change the bread though? Like, do I get, or is it like the same?
It's such a generic question. Like I always say, I eat pizza because you can do so much with pizza.
Right.
Pizza, you could like, you can put meat lovers, you can have veggies, salad.
Yeah.
Right?
Something about egg sandwiches though, man. I could do that.
Oh fuck! You just got me thinking about my answer going forward in life. Because you know what it is? I love my egg sandwich. I love breakfast sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
I love pizza. My two things. Yeah. And out here in Troy, New York, home of Uncle Sam. Mm-hmm. There's this place called the Fazios. The Fazios is one of the better pizzerias in the area. El Presidente from Barstool came out here and gave them like an 8 something.
Oh,
really
wow.
good pizza. Okay. Really good pizza. And they do breakfast pizzas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen those.
At the Saturday market. Mm-hmm. And all it is just the leftover pizza with a fucking egg on top of it. Those fucking bastards.
But it's everything you could want.
And it's like top-notch pizza with an egg on it. So for me, like, yeah, I think pizza. I'm gonna stick to pizza with my answer, but I understand the breakfast sandwich.
You understand the breakfast sandwich. Next time you're in the city, and we get a chance to meet up, I gotta take you to, and it's themed to the show because there's one of my favorite pizzerias I discovered up there is on the Upper East Side. It's called Gotham Pizzeria, and there's something about their crust. It's just the best.
Okay.
So we gotta try that next time I see you.
Gotham Pizzeria. Cool. No. And last show, I always add this one thing, and Bad Force is this as well. I had this amazing cosplayer, Pale Painter, also known as the Roxanne. She had a question that she passed down after I asked a question from Laney.
Okay.
So the question to the current guest is if you were to live in one place for the rest of your life, where would it be and why?
If I could chill in one place for the rest of my
If
life.
you could live in one place for the rest, yeah.
Ooh. Do people have to be around, or can I be alone for this? Like, it just chill.
Whatever you want to live for the rest of your life.
I would say my hometown in Bayville, New York. I would probably stay there because there's something about that saltwater smell that and like on a nice breezy thing, beautiful sunsets there. It is just, if it wasn't for the people, it would be paradise.
Like most places.
Well, Murphy lives there, so that tells you everything you should know.
Well, clearly, he's
we love Murphy.
No, we love Murphy. Murphy, shout out to you, bro. Love you, bro. But okay, cool. I've never been to Bayview, so
Bayville.
Check it out.
See,
Bayville.
You're never going to find it calling it Bayview.
I have to check out Bayville then. I think I actually might be there for Murph a couple of weeks from now. I'll let you know.
All right, yeah, let me know. Do
that
I get
being
to add
said,
a question now?
Of course. So what's your next question to the next guest? I don't know who the next guest is. I'm trying to think. No, I don't know who the next guest is. I have no idea.
I have a question that's great for whoever.
Okay.
It's an interchangeable one, and you could actually make it part of your speed round. I guarantee it. And it's actually my old. All right, so before I met my wonderful girlfriend that I've been with for over a year, I like many people when you're single, tried the dating app thing. And you got to have that opening question, right?
Oh, Jesus. Go.
So my opening question was, if you were an action figure, what accessories would you come with? And people love that question.
Is that legit like one of your fucking questions, dude?
It was, and everybody, it's an easy conversation starter. It's letting me get to know you in a couple of things real quick. And everybody be like, well, what do you come with? I'm like, an iced coffee, my aviator sunglasses, and at the time it would be a pack of Marlboro Lights. So told you everything you needed to know about me right then and there.
That is fucking so cool. I'm just writing it down. I feel like I'm at work, right? I do this with clients. Hey, sorry guys, give me a second. I'm just writing this down.
Right? It's good for podcasting to have that couple of seconds of dead air.
That is funny. That's a great question.
It's a great question because everybody's going to say something different, right?
Yeah, like top 3 accessories or something. Like it's like as well. I've been listening on TikTok. I've been going on the rabbit hole of TikTok, and I'm on the comedian talk. Right? That's what people say now. The cool kids.
I don't tick. I don't talk. I sleep.
Keep it that way, man. Don't lose sleep. But I've been listening to Theo Von, and that dude's been killing me. And he's been saying he's been asking like random questions about stuff or whatever, and that question fits some of the stuff that he's asked, but his answers I can't say. All that stuff being said, man. First off, we're about to say almost 2 hours, and I want to thank you for jumping on. I want to thank you for taking your Friday night and hanging out with me, and obviously getting to know you. Everyone listening, please, make sure you go give Rich Capo, is it 86?
Dave doesn't know me well enough. He doesn't even know how to say my last name. He's like,
No, I'm gonna say Capo because that's exactly what it says.
Nah, it's Capobianco.
Well, I'm not gonna
My
say
5-syllable
full name.
Ginzo last name.
I'm talking about your handle.
Oh, my Instagram?
Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
the Gramo right here.
My oh yeah, my Instagram with I have no comma. I'm not cool like Dave. So
No, listen, guys. Make sure to give Rich a follow. If you see him on the floor on FanExpo, say what's up to him. He's a really good dude. He might be really busy because he has a lot of people to attend to. A lot of people that we are very grateful to be there at these shows. Rich, before we end this or anything, I always ask for our guests to just say a little something. You never know who's listening or who may want to fill your shoes one day, right? Don't fill the shoes too soon. He's my friend. I need him.
I need my shoes too.
Yeah, you need your shoes too, man. But you never know. Anything you want to say positive out there, or anything general? To anyone who's listening.
Sure. Like I told you during this chat, I came into this with no real on paper you could promote it experience, but keep trying, don't take no for an answer when it comes to doing something you want to do. And there's always a way in. It might not be where you think at the start, but if you stick with it, it can take you to the places you want to be.
Nice. Now, thank you for that, Rich. To piggyback on what he said, guys, it's not easy to follow what you want to get done in life. It shouldn't be easy because if it was, everyone would do it. And if it was, you'll be easily taking Rich's place. It doesn't work out
very easily, actually.
So after myself during the last hour and 40 minutes, I learned a lot from Rich myself. Him being my friend, it's a lot of resilience. As you said, don't take no as an answer. It's not a simple thing. It feels awkward to fight for yourself. It feels awkward to want something and know that you might get the answer that you don't want. But guess what happens if you don't do what has to get done? You don't never know, and
you'll never know.
Again, and what most people say is you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
It's true.
So at the end of the day, go out there, shoot your shot, do what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, Rich, thank you for coming out here. Guys,
thank you for having me.
Friday night. This is awesome. Make sure you go out to MegaCon if you can make it. If you can't, look at the roster of cons that FanExpo have. They're everywhere. They're in Portland. They're in Boston. They're in Dallas.
Oh, we got 16
San Francisco
shows a year.
They're in Toronto.
We got Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. They're everywhere, guys. Look at FanExpo. And thank you, Rich, again. Guys, have a great one. Until next time, you'll see Rich when we do a recap on how to make sure you get your commissions in.
Yeah,
Peace.
absolutely.